To give you a picture, I still did not have hair or eyebrows or eyelashes. I wore a baseball cap. I was sick and thin from the chemotherapy. I weighed 58 pounds. And I sat there leaning on this bat until I nodded at the pitcher. And he wound up and threw an underhanded pitch. The ball arced through the air. I picked up the bat. I set it on my shoulder. I swung, and I missed. And the force of the swing spun me around. I lost my balance. I let go of the bat. The bat went flying. I fell down, landed, and coughed on a cloud of dust. I picked up the bat. I brushed myself off. I hopped back over for the second pitch. A lot of my friends were there at that game. A lot of my friends who had shaved their heads were at this game. And this was the first time they had seen me since the amputation. And I wanted them to look at me and say, yes, Josh looks really different now, but he's still the same guy. He can still do stuff. He can still play sports. And that MDRT is why I had to get a hit. Second pitch comes, same thing. I swing, I miss, the bat goes flying, I fall down. I pick up the bat. I hop back over for the third pitch. Now, my dad was there too. My dad was standing behind a tall chain link fence in front of the first base dugout, watching me, his 9-year-old son, with a 50% chance to live, up at bat. I always thought maybe, now that I'm an adult, I thought, if I someday become a father, I will finally understand what it was like for my parents to see me in such pain that year. But now that I am a dad, I realize that I still don't understand what it was like for them. And I hope and I pray that I never do. So I had gotten 2 strikes, and my dad is standing there watching me behind the fence. Now, in English in the United States, there is an expression, a thing that parents and adults always say to children when they are up to bat. Does anyone know what it is? Yeah, one American is in the room. Hi. And he said it right. Keep your eye on the ball. And that's what my dad yelled out to me. He said, keep your eye on the ball. And so I did. On that third pitch, I kept my eye on the ball. I watched the ball soar through the air. I picked up the bat. I swung. And I missed. And the force of the swing spun me around. I lost control of the bat. I fell down in a cloud of dust. Now, this being my third strike, of course, I assumed that I was out. But what I was too young to understand was that at a church baseball game with a big group of your friends, if you just lost your leg to cancer 2 weeks ago and you have a 50% chance to live, you get as many strikes as you want. I was like, all right, if no one else knows the rules of baseball, I'll keep swinging. And so I did. I got another strike, and another strike, and another. After 7 strikes, I got that breath that you get when you are about to cry. And I was all right with my friends seeing me get strikes, but I would not let them see me cry. So I dropped the bat. I picked up my crutches, and I started to walk off the field. And at that point, from behind that tall chain link fence, my dad called out to me. He said, "Joshua, you almost had that last one." And I stopped. I looked over my shoulder at my dad, and he put 2 of his fingers through one of the holes in that fence, and he said, "It was this close." And I was not going to let my dad down. So I walked back onto the field, and I put my crutches down, and I picked up the bat, and I got another strike, and another strike, and another, 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 and it took more than 20 pitches and 20 strikes until finally the ball made contact with the bat. My team got a series of base hits, which pushed me from first to second, and then to third, and then across home plate to score a run for my team. I share that story with you because I believe there are times as a financial services professional that feel like that baseball game did for me. When you are prospecting for new clients or asking for referrals or trying to build your business to reach that new uniform of top of the table, sometimes it feels like strike after strike after strike. But hear me on this, you only strike out if you quit. You only strike out if you quit. That is why we do one more thing, one more time. That's what I kept doing as a ski racer. And when I was 21 years old,